Chicos, ¿cómo están? ¿Qué os cuenta la vida? Aquí Vampiro con un nuevo canal y estamos en otro episodio de Genshin Impact. De hecho, este video no pensaba hacerlo, pero al parecer ahorita estoy en plena grabación de lo que es la misión esta de la especial. Vale, leía el botón equivocado. He estado haciendo la misión especial esta de con las manos en la masa, pero me dice que un personaje está actualmente ocupado en otra misión, que es la Madame Ping Jin, que es la encargada de la misión esta de la tetera. Y la cosa es que esta misión no sé si es que tendrá cinemáticas o no, pero sé que es importante para que si nosotros tengamos nuestra propia tetera y así tener un lugar al que llamar hogar, por así decirlo. La cosa es que voy a hacer esta misión. La verdad es una misión en la que yo he estado bastante buscando hacerla, para ser honesto, porque desde que salió esa tetera, vamos, yo he querido tener una y así poder decorarlo todo a mi manera. El caso es que lo que vamos a hacer ahorita es justamente encontrar esa tetera y hacer prácticamente toda esa arquitectura incaica, china, lo que sea que esté haciendo para nosotros.
Ah, children, come. You've arrived at just the right moment.
Oh, what is it,
¿Cuál es el
Granny?
problema?
Need any help?
Oh, no. You've done so much for Lea Harbor already. I could hardly ask for more. In fact, my old friends and I have been putting our heads together to think of what sort of gift we might give you in return.
¡Quiero la tetera!
A gift? For Paimon?
Solo hice lo que debía hacer, es usted demasiado amable. Lo que sea, dame la maldita tetera.
Child,
Quiero
you're
tener una
so
casa.
very modest.
Quiero hacer mis planos de
Uncommonly
AutoCAD
so even.
realidad.
But you mustn't decline this gift.
Aprobados por la
I
universidad,
simply
obviamente.
won't allow it.
Aunque de hecho no están solamente está el logo ahí, pero no
When you
importa.
traversed my old teapot in search of the cleansing bell, I heard your little friend mention that you often camp out in the wilds.
No sé qué significa pernoctar, pero lo que sea.
That simply won't do. Especially since
Sí, necesitamos
I
un
imagine
campamento,
you still
necesitamos un
have
lugar
a
donde
very
poder
long
dormir y toda la
journey
vaina.
ahead of you. Fortunately, I have not yet grown so old as to see my subspace creation abilities atrophy.
¿Qué es la creación dimensional?
Oh, did my friends never mention that to you? Well then, it is a blessing we old folks once received from Rex Lapis, part of our illumination, if you will. I will not go into too much detail, but subspace creation is the ability to create a small, autonomous pocket world. The teapot that you entered previously was a little trinket created using that ability.
Para ti.
So, in the eyes of an adeptus, creating a magic teapot world is just child's play, huh?
Oh, indeed, the teapot is nothing to boast of. One such as myself must depart from this realm to create a world of one's own. Rex Lapis, on the other hand, moved mountains and seas. That is what one might call an exercise of true power.
Pues tiene un punto bastante fuerte.
But that's enough nostalgia for now. The gift that I have prepared for you just requires a few final materials
¿Qué
to add
necesita?
the
Se
finishing
especifica.
touch.
That's right! Finding stuff's what we're good at, after all.
Paimon, cállate.
Oh, settle down now, children. There's no need for you to go running hither and thither. I have already found a fleet-footed youngster to prepare what I need. What's more, I doubt that you would know how to find the materials I am searching for. Some of them are very rare indeed these
No
days.
importa, dilos.
Well, for starters, I require some shimmer soil from the banks of Dihua Marsh. Back in the day, it could only be found where the glazed lilies thrived most profusely.
Eso es fácil de encontrar.
You would have to dig downward, following the roots of the glazed lilies, and if you were lucky enough, you just might find a small patch of shimmer soil there. But almost no one has been able to find shimmer soil in this manner since Dihua Marsh came to be the way it is today. Even more difficult to find is smaragdus jadeite, which must be chiseled from the rock of the chasm. Or so it used to be. Ever since the Blackcliff Forge opened for business, they've slowly but surely stripped the mines all but completely bare of it. In any case, Smaragdus Jadeite is an Adepti treasure, and the Adeptal power within is not something that most humans can withstand. Extended contact with it is, in fact, harmful to humans. Goodness knows if that child will succeed in finding these items.
¿Cuál niña?
Well, since you're an Adeptus, Granny, the person you asked for help, they must be an Adeptus too, right?
Yes. I suppose she does count as an Adeptus.
She counts? How come there are so many Adepti in Liyue Harbor? We seem to bump into them all the time.
Oh, maybe so. Who can say? A fair few of my old friends are rather fond of mundane mortal life, after all.
I'm back, Granny. Oh, I don't believe we've met.
Allow me to do the honors.
Yanfei,
This child here is
la que parece sacar de Ace
She's
Attorney,
the one
¿verdad?
helping run some errands for me. Yanfei, I believe you already heard of the traveler and his traveling companion.
Of course, who hasn't? Much has been written about you in the Millilith's records.
Sí, muchas cosas malas al parecer. Pero a tal punto
You
de que
became
no
one of
les
Liyue's
importa.
most wanted after the Millilith marked you as a suspect following the incident at the Rite of Dissension. After which, you fought off the Millilith at Julian Karst and made contact with the Fatui,
Sí, nos llevamos bastante bien con la Geormada.
before finally defeating an ancient god together with Granny and her associates, and subsequently being cleared of any and all suspicion by the Chiseng. What a shame.
Shame.
A shame that we didn't meet sooner. If we had, well, I can't say that I would have been able to clear you of suspicion immediately, but it certainly would have been less, embarrassing for you.
Sí, hubieras dicho I'm a lawyer y prácticamente ya estoy libre de toda culpa, como diría el RP Game.
Allow me to introduce myself once more. I'm Yanfei, a legal advisor. Got a legal problem? You can come right to me. Oh, yes, here's my business card. You'll find it has my contact details and office address. Keep it handy.
Chévere, esto le servirá a la gente del
If you
aborto.
have an
Ahorita están
urgent
con
issue,
medio problema
just
con el
leave me a
tema
note
este
at
del
this
aborto
address. Oh,
y
and I almost
no
forgot
tienen
to
ninguna
mention,
asesoría
I
legal.
offer a very generous discount for first-time customers.
All right, Yanfei, all right. Let's get to the business at hand. I do not think these
Ahorita
two
no,
are in
más
any
tarde cuando
dire
cometamos
need of
crímenes en
legal
contra de la humanidad,
assistance at the
tal
moment.
vez.
You'll have to excuse Yanfei. She's always been like this. Ever the talkative one when it comes to her own affairs.
Ya, sé franca, eres un adeptus.
Paimon was gonna ask the same question.
An Adeptus? I guess. Kinda. My old man said he was one anyway.
Entonces eres una cría de adeptus, eres mitad humana, mitad adeptus.
He mentioned that he once campaigned with Rex Lapis for a long old time, and then after that was all over, he went back and married my mom. They had me, and once I was all grown up, the two of them upped and left on a journey, leaving me with Granny here.
50-50, ok.
Well, that's a bit casual for an Adeptus. Aren't you guys supposed to sign solemn contracts to protect Liyue Harbor and all that stuff? What do you mean he just went back to get married?
¿Su madre era abogada?
Well, my dad did say that he'd talked it through with Rex Lapis, and that he was fine with it. Even contributed towards the wedding gift, apparently. Anyway, let's not dwell
okay.
on that too much. So, Granny, I've gotten a hold of most of the stuff you asked for, except for Smaragdus Jadeite.
Déjamelo a mí,
I couldn't
yo lo
find
hago.
any at all. The chasm's been sealed off, and there's just no way in.
Sí, más
Couldn't
sagrada.
secure any documentation either.
Parece que las
Looks
leyes
like the
no...
Ministry of Civil Affairs is
Parece que las
serious
leyes no
about
son
keeping
nada
it
en
strictly
comparación a
locked
la
down.
escaladura con fuerza bruta incluida.
Is that so? But Smaragdus Jadeite is really rather essential. Yanfei, are you sure you can't find some other way? They have helped Liyue greatly after all. It is only right that they are duly
No se preocupe, yo
rewarded.
puedo tranquilamente escalar esa montaña y traer esa jadeíta porque al parecer lo que ha hecho tu nieta ha sido simplemente preguntar a la gente, hacer negocios, cosas legislativas, y hay veces en las que las cosas legislativas no funcionan. No, tenemos que dar el no me acuerdo el término en quechua, pero sé que tiene que ver con una historia en donde al final del tipo lo paran, lo agarran y lo llevan todo el rato hasta que quede solamente sus intestinos y esos intestinos lo tiren al agua, pero no me acuerdo el término en quechua y ese cuento lo he leído un montón de veces.
I know, Granny, you've told me 1,000 times already. Well, the chasm's definitely a no-go.
Yo puedo
but
ir a
there's
la
still a
cima.
chance we can figure out some alternative means of
¡Pura
procurement. Hold on a moment. Let me have a look.
Whoa, that's a really thick book. What kind of things do you write in there?
Commercial consultancy. Or Snezhnaya. Found him. Krusel. A Snezhnayan merchant who once came to me with some legal queries on certain articles in the legal codices. If my memory serves, all of them had to do with rare ores. He mentioned that he was considering acquiring some smaragdus jadeite to make hairpins, and wanted to know if there were any legal ramifications that he should be aware of. Said he was planning to sell them in Snezhnaya. So, I guess I'll go look for him. With any luck, he'll have gotten his hands on some smaragdus jadeite, or
Iremos
might have an
contigo,
idea of where we can find
como si no
some.
tuviéramos nada más que hacer.
Oh, you want to join me? I suppose that's no problem, but it's best if you just stand by and watch. If you try to get involved, you'll only risk placing yourself in legal jeopardy.
No te preocupes, yo voy a jugar el Ace Attorney. Sé cómo funciona la wea de legislativa.
Wow, an adeptus imploring us to avoid incurring
No es un
legal
adeptus, es
liability.
mitad adeptus.
That's a first for
50%, 50-50, es un híbrido.
Best we be
Semiadeptus.
a little more careful than usual while we're with her.
Ok, sigamos a Yanfei, a donde está Grossi. O Grosso, como sea que se llame este pana. Vale, está abajo a unos 61 metros por el área comercial, aquí. Sí, está justamente allí. Y Yanfei creo que ya está con él. No parece un fatui, para ser honesto. Es un lugareño de acá, ¿verdad?
Hello, Mr. Krusel. How's business been?
Oh, good, very good. All thanks to your advice, Miss Yanfei. What brings you here today?
You're too kind. I was simply doing my job. Now, I believe that the last time we met, you mentioned that you were looking to source some smaragdus jadeite to make hairpins. Have there been any further developments on this front?
Well, yes, as a matter of fact, in the end I did acquire a small piece of smaragdus jadeite and had it fashioned into a pair of hairpins. Miss Yanfei, might I presume that you have an interest in the hairpins? I must apologize, I've already rented them out to a lady named Zhi Qiao. If you'd like to inspect them, you may have to wait quite some time.
Me pregunto por qué están censurando su cara.
Wait, isn't smaragdus jadeite really rare? Aren't you worried about the hairpins getting damaged or lost while they're being rented out?
No, I'm not worried in the slightest,
decía
because
yo,
I signed a
vamos a ver su
contract
cara.
with Miss Zhi Qiao before renting them to her. The contract makes it quite clear that if she loses or damages the item in question, she must compensate me for its full original value.
Interesante.
In return, I included a clause that guarantees the smaragdus jadeite is genuine, with a penalty of 10 times the item's value payable by me
Simple como
to
el
Miss
agua.
Zhi.
Guaranteed genuine, with 10 times the value payable if this claim is shown to be false. Yes, these terms are very clear indeed.
Of course. This way, both the client and I have the assurance we need. To ensure fairness, each of us has retained an original copy of the contract.
In that case, might you know where Miss Xiao lives? We'd like to pay her a visit and have a look at the hairpins.
Oh, of course. She wrote her address down when we signed our contract. Here, I'll mark it on your map for you.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Krusel. We'll be off now.
Vale, tenemos que buscar a la señora entonces, a Xin Xiao, que estará por aquí cerca. Ahora me permite hacerlo de la misión de esta de con las manos en la masa, al parecer, no sé. Ya me lo permite. Pero igual, voy a seguir haciéndole la tetera, porque tampoco es que quiero tener esta tetera, bueno, relajaterra, lo que sea. Vale, por aquí está la señorita esa en el segundo piso encima. Odio cuando están en el segundo piso estos individuos. Vale, ¿puedo hacer parkour? ¿Puedo hacer parkour? Por favor, dime que puedo hacer parkour. Chévere. A ver, ¿qué pasa?
Oh,
Whatever shall I do?
¿Usted es la señorita Shi Chao?
Yes, that's me.
Perdiste
Is
los
there
jares,
something I can
¿verdad?
help you with?
No me digas que has perdido los jares,
How do
por
you do,
favor.
Monsieur Chow? We understand from Mr. Crossell that you recently rented a pair of hairpins from him. My associates and I are very interested in them. Would you mind letting us take a look at them?
The hairpins. I can't lend them to you right now. I've lost them.
You had one job.
I don't know how it could have happened. I always kept them right by my side, and I hadn't even worn them yet. I spent so much money on them. If I have to pay their original value, there's no way I could come up with that amount of money on such short notice.
En primer lugar, ¿para qué chucha quieres el jare?
My family is in the ore business too, but business has been suffering ever since the chasm was sealed off.
Ajá.
We now have a backlog of paid-up orders just sitting around, so we've been having to purchase some stock from other ore merchants to complete them.
Weas económicas que a mí no me interesan,
The
excelente.
banquet is coming up in a few days, and several ore merchants I know of will be there. I need this opportunity to mingle and discuss prices. That's what the hairpins were for, to keep up appearances. I can't have them looking down on me, but now that I've lost the hairpins, what will I do?
Why does Paimon have a sudden strong sense of déjà vu?
Porque esa es la parte en la que decimos, déjamelo a mí, yo me encargo, soy el prota, yo voy a encontrar esta vaina. Literalmente mi voz es la misma que la de un pana que también tenía que buscar varias cosas en el monasterio. Sé lo que hago, está en mis genes, está en mi voz, y yo me encargo.
Would you really?
Ya me-
I sent a commission to the Adventurers Guild, but I haven't heard anything back from them yet.
Hold on. Don't run off looking for the hairpins just yet. Monsieur Chow, would you let me have a look at the rental contract you signed?
Huh? Well, I mean, sure, I have it right here. Here you are.
Let me see.
That's right! Yanfei said she's a legal advisor, didn't she? Maybe she can help Juchao somehow.
Sí, y eso no importa, el trabajo es trabajo.
True. Though surely there must be a win-win solution.
Right.
Claro.
I finished reading the contract. The terms are very clear, and they do indeed stipulate that you must pay Mr. Crossell the original value of the hairpins as compensation for the loss. Furthermore, the contract also expressly states that the amount of compensation must take current market prices into account.
Ya, destruyamos el mercado. Si esa huevada va a caer en valor, entonces no tendrá que pagar nada.
And given the rarity of Smaragdus Jadeite, I fear that the final amount of compensation may end up being significantly higher as a result.
Pero,
Even higher. Oh, no.
Uh-oh. Juchao looks like she's about to faint.
However, all of this is assuming that it is indeed genuine Smaragdus Jadeite that was inlaid into the
claro, si
hairpins.
convencemos de que esa jareita es
Did you really
falsa.
have to pause before saying that part? Anyway, the hairpins are lost, so how exactly would we be able to find out if the jadeite is genuine or not? Whichever way you look at it, we've got to start by finding those hairpins.
O crear unas falsas y que ella presente eso si se salga con la suya. Ese es pensamiento de mi barrio, por cierto.
Except that if we found the hairpins, there'd no longer be any need to check whether the jadeite is genuine, would there?
Ok, Yanfei está a 40 millas por delante mío.
Seems right.
Please,
Conviene no encontrarlas entonces.
please, Don't trouble yourselves over this. The fact is, I lost the item and I should pay compensation.
Es
per
una
the
suma enorme.
contract. However much it is, I will have to pay it. My family are merchants after all. It's vital that we keep our word and respect our contracts. Now that it's come to this, I really shouldn't keep Crossell in the dark any longer. I'll go and inform him of the issue and then negotiate the amount of
Que
compensation.
Yanfei te acompañe entonces.
Yes, legally speaking, it seems this is the most sensible course of action. But before that, I have some questions about the hairpins. So hold on a moment, Monsieur Chow. When you first touched the hairpins, what did you feel?
What did I feel? Well, I remember that the gemstones set into the pins were perfectly smooth to the touch, like the finest quality jade.
Tranquilamente puede ser plástico.
My family has seen much jade pass through its hands in the past, so I am quite certain of my judgment in this matter.
Smooth to the touch. Finest quality jade.
Puede ser plástico.
No, it's nothing. I just need to re-examine a few things. Let's head over to Mr. Crossel's.
Sí, primero arreglemos esta vaina antes de encontrar el objeto en sí. Me parece lógico. Oye, señor Cross. Señor Carrion. Tenemos que informarle algo importante acerca de las careitas.
You've returned. With Miss Jiqiao in tow, too, I see. How are the hairpins? I trust you're quite satisfied with them?
Mira, no podemos decirte que son verdaderas, no podemos decirte que son falsas, pero no podemos decirte nada.
About that.
Sí, la razón por la que no podemos comprobar si son verdaderas o falsas es porque no existen. Han desaparecido de la faz de la Tierra. Así mágicamente.
You lost them? Are you serious? Do you have any idea how expensive they were?
Yep.
I'm sorry. Truly I am. I'll pay the compensation as per our contract. Every last mora.
Objection!
Mora? Do you have any idea what I had to go through to get my hands on that Smaragdus jadeite?
La madre, el timing fue malo ahí. Objection!
I just don't...
La madre, ¿van a pasar a Yanfei o no?
Talking won't bring them back. Since Miss Yanfei is here, I suppose we can just have her estimate the amount that needs to be paid.
Objection!
No problem. But before I can give an official estimate, I'll need to do a little market research. Ah, yes. And if I may just confirm again, it was in fact genuine Smaragdus jadeite inlaid into the hairpins, correct?
Suponiendo que es correcto eso, o sea, si es que es verdadero la jareita. Porque no podemos esto comprobarlo ahorita.
Of course! Genuine article guaranteed, or I pay back 10 times the value.
Alright, understood. I'll conduct some market research, and once I'm back, I'll provide an official assessment of the sum owed by Mr. Chow in compensation. Please wait here, Mr. Crossell.
Thank you very much. How could she lose my hairpins? She'd better pay every last mora that they're worth.
Looks like I'll have to find some way to raise that money.
Please wait, Mr. Chow. I have something to discuss with you. It's not convenient to speak here, so let's find somewhere that we can sit and talk in more detail.
Espera aquí, Cross. No creo que vayan a hacer algo en su contra, para ser honesto. No creo que Yanfei, que es una persona abogada, persona de leyes, sea capaz de ir en contra de ustedes porque está teniendo con otro cliente de calidad. La verdad es que tengo unas opiniones divididas acerca del oficio, de las leyes, de lo que son los abogados y toda la vaina. Me he jugado el Ace Attorney, que la verdad es un juego bastante bueno, para ser honesto. Uno de mis favoritos, por así decirlo, y sé que es bastante alabado por los elitistas. Y yo sí le encuentro la razón del por qué. Está bastante bien escrito. A veces los casos dan un giro inesperado bastante chido, que así tú te esperes muchos giros inesperados. Los giros que pasan no te los sueles esperar. Y esto, bueno, con el tema este de las leyes, yo nunca me quise meter a ello porque tengo principios y toda la vaina. Pero tengo un amigo que está metido en eso de las leyes y le va bastante bien con todo este tema. Pero igual, esto, ahorita en ser abogado en Latinoamérica no es tan buena idea que diría. Pero es importante que haya gente que quiera proteger las leyes y cambiarlas hoy en día.
Are you here to tell me how much I owe?
No. What I wanted to talk about is, there is a chance that the ore inlaid on those hairpins may not be Smaragdus jadeite after all.
Sí.
What do you mean? Are you implying that you already sneaked off and found them?
Obviously not. I'm no adventurer, let alone a member of the guild. I don't run thankless, time-consuming errands for a living. Let's just say I made some deductions.
Que pueden ser correctas o incorrectas, pero ahorita nos conviene suponer que son correctas.
I don't know if Granny told you this, but Smaragdus jadeite is found deep underground and contains very concentrated elemental energy.
Uso la visión elemental y las encontramos al toque.
If mere mortals come into contact with it, well, they'll be sick in the best case. And in the worst case, they could even experience a dramatic change of personality. It most certainly would not be smooth to the touch. Mr. Chow, did you at any time feel unwell while the hairpins were in your possession?
No, not at all. I felt perfectly fine the whole
Son
time.
falsas, son falsas. La han engañado, señora. Ese hijo de puta debería irse a la cárcel por engaño. 2 años de
Now
pena.
that is
He
strange.
dicho, caso
I
cerrado.
noticed earlier that there were elemental traces in Mr. Crossel's vicinity. If I've deduced correctly, he may still have the Smaragdus Jadeite in his possession.
If that's the case, we should go confront him right now and expose his dirty scam right to his face!
Ahorita no.
Absolutely not.
Exacto.
If we were to confront him now, there's no way he would
Sí.
admit to it.
Exacto.
Eventually, he would find some argument
El
to
tipo
compel
sabe lo
us
que
to
está
leave.
haciendo. Este no es su primer rodeo.
And then he'd throw the Smaragdus Jadeite into the sea the moment we were gone. After that, he would simply insist that Mr. Chow pay up per the contract. He would lose nothing. Meanwhile, we would have to look under every stone in Liyue, hoping and praying that the hairpins do actually still exist somewhere in this world.
So vivid that Paimon thinks it might be experience talking.
Oh, it certainly is. I've seen my fair share of situations like this, and brute force methods are certainly one way of resolving them. Fortunately, I have far more elegant solutions at my disposal. I'll share them with you in due course.
Como pedirle a un grupo de personas que guarden dinerito y que de ahí lo donen para la campaña. No sé, esto puede funcionar mejor.
Well then, since
No
you're so
entiendo nada de
experienced in dealing
lo que
with
está pasando
problems
con
like
los
this,
dinámicos al centro.
perhaps you could help me, Miss Yanfei.
Oh, that won't be a problem. But first, Mr. Chow, could I ask you to please sign this contract?
Huh? Does there have to be a contract for everything?
Si me pagaran un bono por cada vez que escucho la palabra contrato, tendría 2. Cosa que no es mucho, pero es raro que haya pasado 2 veces este día.
It feels like Yanfei is even more concerned with them than a certain someone else we know.
These are my formal terms of engagement. Everything prior to now has just been pro bono advice. But for me to investigate any further, I require a written contract. Any work commissioned but not bound by a contract cannot be relied upon.
I understand. Then I will be glad to place this matter into your capable hands if you will take it, Miss Yanfei.
No problem. Just sign here, and I'll sign too. Okay. Now write your address here, and then sign on this page as well.
Sí, así yo también
I'll also
estaba
need your signatures
cuando
on pages 5,
fui
7,
por
and on
primera
the very
vez
last
a
page.
cambiar mi
Finally, if you could
DNI
just
y
use this
estaba
ink pad to make a
¿cómo carajos
handprint
pueden
over
hacer
here.
esto sin confundirse? ¿Y por qué carajos tienen que firmar bastante?
Contract has so many pages. Paimon's all out of brain juice again.
Los impuestos son un dolor de cabeza.
All right, that should do it. My fees are the same as always, and they're written in the contract. Have a look through and let me know if you have any questions.
I've had a read through. Everything checks out.
Well then, here's your copy of the contract. I will retain the other copy.
Necesitan ayuda.
Not for now, no. Despite how intractable this problem might sound, it will actually be quite straightforward to resolve. I don't believe you have been part of an investigation like this before, in which case, hopefully this should be quite the experience.
Ojalá.
Miss Yanfei, I have to ask, why are you helping me?
Money.
Because, as it happens, I'm currently trying to acquire some Smaragdus Jadeite myself. I noticed strong traces of geoenergy around Mr. Crossell, so
O sea que la
perhaps he
jereíta
has,
sea
in
verdadera,
fact,
pero
secured
sea,
some.
se lo ha robado entonces.
Whether he actually made it into an item of jewelry or not is a separate matter. But either way, it's a lead. As long as we follow it, who knows? We might just be able to get our hands on some Smaragdus Jadeite. Also, the idea of someone abusing the law to their advantage, I won't stand for it. But again, let's not dwell on this.
Pregunto cómo
Let's
será
go
cuando tengas que
to-
defender a un criminal.
Where can we find
Es algo
someone
que
who
un abogado tiene
processes
que enfrentarse
ore?
eventualmente.
Ah, I've got it. Let's pay a visit to Chateau, the boss of the Jade Mystery. He's a professional when it comes to working with stone and ore.
How to Get Away with Murder. Sería recomendadísima.
If Mr. Crossell had his ore worked on at all, Chateau would undoubtedly have been his first choice.